Hello and welcome once again to the YouTube channel Have You Not Read? Today we're going to be in the second in a series on what is Islam. And in this video we're going to do an overview of the Quran and some of what it has to say. This will be by no means an exhaustive study. It would take many videos to accomplish all that the Quran has to say. This is to give a brief overview to those who might not be familiar with the Quran. The Quran is to the Muslims as the Bible is to Christians. They believe it was given to Muhammad by Allah through the angel Gabriel. And it is God's word to all Muslims. Now, all of the writings compiled in the Quran, they were not done during Muhammad's lifetime. For 16 years, he claimed to have received revelations from Allah. But only years later, under Uthman ibn Affan, was it put together to become what is known as the Quran. I believe the man's name is Uthman ibn Affan. And the Quran is the foundation of Islam. Without the Quran, there is no Islam. As the Bible is the foundation of Judaism and Christianity. And as with the Bible, there are different versions of the Quran out there, but the message is basically the same in every one of them. So let's take a brief look at the Quran. The Quran is really unique in all of the sacred writings of this world, in that it actually counsels and encourages those who hold to it to wage war against those who don't believe it. And it's not surprising. In the first video, if you saw it, we saw that Muhammad established Islam through terror at the point of the sword. Convert or die. He taught his followers that Allah required his followers to take up arms and slew unbelievers who would not believe and accept Islam. There are over 100 verses in the Quran that exhort believers to wage war against unbelievers. That cannot be denied. Now, it is known in Islamic circles, that particular thing, as jihad. The word means striving or struggle in order to live a righteous life and follow Islam. But the broader meaning also includes an internal struggle against sin and an external effort, including armed conflict to protect Islam and fight against unbelievers in some groups of Islam. Not all Muslims hold to that, but we'll see, as we're going to see in a second, it is in the Quran. Now, let me give you a few examples from the Quran. This is from the Quran 9:73. O Prophet, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm against them. Their abode is hell, an evil refuge indeed. Now, strive hard in Arabic is the word jihad. Now, in Quran 47:4, we see this. When you meet the unbelievers in the battlefield, strike off their heads, and when you have laid them low, bind your captives firmly. In Quran 9:1-3, we have this. O ye who believe, fight the unbelievers who gird you about, and let them find firmness in you, and know that Allah is with those who fear him. And finally, in Quran 9:73, Prophet, make war on the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and deal rigorously with them. Hell shall be their home, an evil fate. Now, that is just a few quotes right now from the Quran. And I'll tell you, a prominent South African mufti had this to say about jihad. If a country doesn't allow the propagation of Islam to its inhabitants in a suitable manner, or creates hindrances to this, then the Muslim ruler would be justifying in waging jihad against this country so that the message of Islam can reach its inhabitants. So in other words, according to Islamic that Islamic spiritual leader, if a country is perceived to be a hindrance to Islam, then Muslims must wage war against it. Now, let me give you a few more quotes here from the Quran. In Quran 9:41, it says this: whether unarmed or well-equipped, march on and fight for the cause of Allah. In Quran 3:49, believers take neither Jews nor Christians for your friends. They are friends with one another. Whoever of you seeks their friendship shall become one of their number. Allah does not guide the wrongdoers. In Quran 9:122, believers make war on the infidels who dwell around you. Deal courteously with them. Know that Allah is with the righteous. And then finally, in Quran 9:4, when the sacred months are over, slay the idolaters wherever you find them. Arrest them, besiege them, and lie in ambush everywhere for them. Now, I know that was a little bit of scattering and jumping around in the Quran, but I think that we get the message. Those are just a few examples, and they are not pulled out of context. If you were to take the Quran and read those verses I just gave you in the Quran, you would see that they are not pulled out of context. They fit right into the context. So when Muslims go out and wage war against unbelievers and seek to conquer the world for Allah, they are acting in obedience to the message of the Quran, not in violation of it. Now, many Muslims do live in peace, especially in America and other countries, but as soon as Islam becomes the dominant religion, they must revert and adhere to jihad or they will be punished. We've seen that the message of the Quran to Muslims is to make no friend with a Jew or a Christian, but to make war against them. In the Quran, Allah alone does all of the speaking except for a few minor exceptions. And interestingly enough, for all the Muslim talk about Jerusalem, that word never appears in the Quran. Lastly, the Quran denies that Allah had a son. And I'm going to give you the quote right here from the Quran 4:171. Forbear, and it shall be better for you. Allah is but one God. Allah forbid that he should have a son. The Bible is explicit in that God had a son and his name was Jesus Christ. Islam rejects that God had a son or Allah had a son. Now, I've just given you a very brief overview of the book of Quran. Next time, we're going to begin to look at Islamic doctrine, and we're going to begin with what is called the Hadith.